Ever so often, this is how we start the program with a long version of the theme, the theme song, Both Sides of the Story by Phil Collins. Ever so often, we need to remind ourselves that we always need to hear both sides of the story. We'll properly introduce the program when we come back from this break. In the meantime, though, good afternoon and thank you so much for making it both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. It's a wet Monday afternoon in the corporate area, and we'll have more after the break. You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 15 minutes past 2 o'clock. We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Neighborhood police are shining. It's the middle of the night. Young faces hide in the shadows. 2021 to 2030 is the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, and the Decade of Action for Road Safety. It's the 12th day of the ninth month of 2022, the International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development, the International Year of Basic Sciences for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Glass, and the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture. Put another way, it's the 12th day of the fourth month of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season. And according to the weather forecast, there's a trough across Jamaica. And you know, once you hear that word trough, we are talking about some level of instability in the usual weather conditions. That's basically it. Some people feel that when you hear trough, you're talking about bad weather. Well, that's what some people call it. But it really is about clouding. Once there's that trough, there's clouding and there is rain or thunderstorms. And as we keep repeating on this program, a trough is always associated with some weather activity, either directly or indirectly. And so the trough is across Jamaica, and this trough will linger across Jamaica for most of this week. This afternoon into evening, we'll see mostly cloudy skies with showers and thunderstorms as we've been experiencing, especially across southern parishes. Tonight will be cloudy with few lingering showers and isolated thunderstorms. Elsewhere in the region, there's a tropical wave moving across the eastern Caribbean. And let's check out some of the observances for the month of September. It's Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month, Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, National Senior Citizens Month, Employers Month, Alopecia Awareness Month, alopecia, Alopecia, that's partial or complete hair loss, baldness, that's what alopecia means. And if you need an example, you should be seeing my head if you're watching us on Facebook Live and on YouTube. That's an example. This is an example. And the month of September is also Travel Agents Month, and Tasty Cheese tell us that it's Cheese Month. It's a national day in Cape Verde Islands. It's Census Day 2022 here in Jamaica. Let the census begin. We keep asking the question, how are we going to effectively manage the affairs of this country? How do we expect to effectively serve our people if we don't know who our people are, where they are, what they're doing, or perhaps what they're not doing? How many senior citizens do we have in Jamaica? How many centenarians do we have in Jamaica? How many persons with disabilities do we have in Jamaica? And among those, how many of them are blind or visually impaired, or you get the picture? So if we have that information, then when programs and initiatives are to be pursued, it means we can be more precise in how we allocate resources and how the extent to which we're able to effectively manage certain situations, whether in the field of education or health, security, etc. And so the census is important. Please support the census. It's been 34 years since Hurricane Gilbert ravaged Jamaica on Monday, a Monday like today, Monday, the 12th of September, 1988. And Calabar High School is today celebrating Founders Day, 110 years since the school was founded by Reverends Ernest Price and David Davis, September 12, 1912. There's a bit of story, well, some stories within that history as well. We'll see if we can share that with you a little later on. Hoy es lunes el 12 de septiembre 2022 y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado, porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est lundi le 12 septembre 2022 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service par une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue. All we're saying is it's Monday, the 12th of September, 2022, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome. Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Moran Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point. This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those tuned in via the Power 106 FM app, which you have downloaded from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free. Listening is free whenever, wherever. We acknowledge those who have dialed a designated number to listen to Power 106 FM from the United States and the United Kingdom. Those in the US who wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM can call 631 359 8281. 631 359 8281. If you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 0330 606 0953. 0330 606 0953. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook. In the search box atop the page, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you too will be able to not just hear, but also see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. What's on your mind this afternoon? The lines are open, 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Trust you had a safe and peaceful weekend and that you are ready. In fact, this is the we had the official start of the 2022-2023 academic year, which was last Monday. But this Monday is indeed the undoubtedly the real start, from the standpoint that usually the first few days are used for orientation and other related matters. But once you get to the second Monday of September at the start of an academic year, that's when the rubber actually hits the road, because everybody is out for school. And it means when that happens, additional traffic on our roads, parents and guardians and caregivers having responsibility to pick up and drop off children, private transportation as well kicks in. Those private vehicles that are commissioned to carry children, students within a certain geographic area and take them to school or as close as possible to school, etc. So a lot of that. So a lot of people are back in business. The vendors who are having to contemplate now healthier snacks for the children. We'll see how that unfolds. But life has returned to a number of families, in a manner of speaking, by virtue of school being back in session in full flight, as they say. And let's remember that we should always pack an umbrella or a raincoat for the children, for those who can afford to buy an umbrella and a raincoat or a raincoat. And also in purchasing school bags, and most of you have bought the bags already, make sure the bag is insulated, meaning that there is some kind of a double stitching or additional material on the that is that is not that is impregnable, that cannot be breached, so that even if the bag gets wet, the water doesn't seep in and wet up the books. And I don't know if children still wrap books these days, but wrapping the books does help in extending the life of the publication, and especially those who are on the book rental scheme, those who have rented books. Uh, it's important that you take care of them so that others are able to use them in good condition. More in a moment. You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 2:30. Tune in every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. for Your Legal Corner with Dana Walker Huntington, doing both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106 FM. It's your source of information regarding U.S. immigration matters, combined with Power 106 FM's pioneer of diaspora broadcasting. Call in with your U.S. immigration queries and concerns on 876-924-11225 or send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598 and get the answers you need for your U.S. immigration questions. That's Your Legal Corner with Dana Walker Huntington, Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. during both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm, only on Power 106 FM. Chad Ad Distributors are the island-wide distributors of the popular Mac, plus Sumitomo, Falcon, and Solidil. For batteries, Mayatsu, AC Delco, and for lubricants, it's Petro Canada. Visit us at 87 to 91 First Street, Newport West. Telephone 901-6612 or 383-4363. Chad Ad Distributors Limited, your place to retire. Medical Center. They offer and promote excellent patient care, laboratory and customer service at affordable prices. They also offer DNA testing. See their general practitioner, OBGYN, and physiotherapist. Compassionate Care Medical Center. Shop 6 Pathfinder Plaza, 2 West Henderson Boulevard, Greater Baltimore. Call 876-627-5466 or 876-870-9604. Are roads a major concern? What about those drains that are in need of repair or cleaning? Who's responsible for repairing my road and when will it be done? Join us this and every Tuesday morning at 8 during Morning Agenda as we travel on our roads with the National Works Agency and get answers to these and other concerns. You're welcome to visit their website at www.nwa.gov.jm. See the tender notices link for projects to be undertaken. You may also call them toll-free at 1-888-429-5NWA. That's 1-888-429-5692. Or follow them on Twitter at NWA_JA and Facebook at www.facebook.com/NWA Jamaica. The National Works Agency, developing safe, reliable, and quality roads. Tune in every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. for Your Legal Corner with Dana Walker Huntington, doing both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106 FM. It's your source of information regarding U.S. immigration matters, combined with Power 106 FM's pioneer of broadcasting. Call in with your U.S. immigration queries and concerns on 876-924-11225 or send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598 and get the answers you need for your immigration questions. That's Your Legal Corner with Dana Walker Huntington, Thursdays at 3:30 p.m. during both sides of the story with Dervan Malcolm, only on Power 106 FM. It's a Monday afternoon, just after 2:30, and you know what that means, right? It's time for Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with, anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land. You've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113 to 5. 876-922-4113 to 5. The text line for Land Solutions is 876-387-3183. 876-387-3183. The website is landsolutionsja.com. landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja, facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com. gloria@landsolutionsja.com. The law firm Brown, Findley and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have another location, that's Shop 6 at the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. You're encouraged to call ahead and be advised as to what you will need to do, what you will need to take with you, when you will be seen by one of the lawyers, etc. Call ahead. The numbers to call the law firm Brown, Findley and Company: 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. Every Thursday from 10 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon, a lawyer is on duty at the Ocho Rios law offices of Brown, Findley and Company. In a moment, it will be time for your host on today's edition of Land Solutions, attorney at law, Gloria Brown.
Thank you, Dervan. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, Dervan. Welcome, everyone, to Land Solutions. The number to call 922-411-325, 922-411-325. And I've had so many persons calling me during the week to tell me how they enjoyed the program last week. I think they just enjoyed the gentleman singing to me. And I will say a good hello to my friend who called me last week and sang Gloria. So give me a call. You may also send me now a WhatsApp message, 387-3183 is my WhatsApp number, 387-3183, or send me a text message at 387-3183. And remember the email address, gloria@landsolutionsja.com, gloria@landsolutionsja.com. And I will be in Ocho Rios this Thursday between 10 and 1. The Ocho Rios office is on the Jamaica National Building in the heart of Ocho Rios. I want to remind my listeners, many of you are return residents from England, that the banks, the Bank of England as well as the Jamaican banks, will be phasing out the 20 pound and the 50 pound notes. Remember, that's the paper ones. Remember, they phased out the 5 and the 10 some time ago. So if you have a 20 pound note or a 50 pound note, get it to the bank as soon as possible, or it's going to be useless to you. That's the paper one, because we know they are moving to these plastic ones. So if you have any paper pound note, 20 or 50, take it to your bank and get it changed, because come the end of the month or so, or let's say before the end of the month, you're not going to be able to use that again, and nobody will accept it from you. Number to call 922-411-325, text line 387-3183, 387-3183. Can a will be done by only a lawyer, or can a pastor or a GP do it? Anybody can write your will for you, as long as they have an understanding. You can write it yourself as well. So there's no requirement that a lawyer has to write your will. It can be done by you yourself, but just want to make sure that the person who is doing it has a proper understanding of what should be involved. And also make sure that it is signed by you and witnessed, because many of us go around to saying we have wills and they're not signed, which means we don't have any will. So your will must be signed, and it must be signed in the presence of two or more witnesses. And when it is being signed, you must be there signing it, and the two other persons, all three of you must be there at the same time. If you ask me to sign your will today and Dervan to sign it tomorrow, the will is not valid. All three of us must be there when the will is being signed. The persons who are witnessing the will should not get anything out of the will or their spouses. So if you ask me to witness your will, I shouldn't get anything out of the will, or my husband should not get anything out of the will. The will is still valid, but the gift to me, I won't get what is left to me unless the court gives an order that I can get it. Remember, the persons who are witnessing your will don't have any rights to witness it. They're already witnessing your signature, not the will. They have no rights to read your will. Your will is private. A lot of people will tell you that they're not signing any pushing back. Will find somebody who will. But don't let people read your will. It's private. You can cover up everything and say, could you please witness my signature? If they said they know, if the two persons said they won't, find two other persons. Numbers to call 9224112, 9224113, and 9224115. The text line is 387-3183, 387-3183, and the email grower@landsolutionsga.com. Text message: I'm married but have been separated from my wife. If I die and leave a will for my kids to get all my belongings, can my wife overturn this? The wife could take an action in court, could bring an action to court, yes, but would have to show the court why you should leave something for the wife. So the wife would have to show the court why. The court won't just get up and overturn your will. So the court will look at why you didn't leave anything for this person. The fact that you were separated is a part of a good reason, but remember, you won't be alive. So the person would always say to the court that they were living with you all this time. So I always encourage persons, when the marriage ends, you need to end it, because this person is still your spouse. If you die without a will, this person will get half of what you have. If you don't make a will, or they don't find the will when you pass, or somebody destroys the will, then this person is still your spouse and will get a half of what you die leaving. So we need to sort out our things, but that would seem still for you to make your will and leave what you want to the children. The court will look at what you died leaving, what this person has for themselves, why the court will also look at why they should overturn, why they should change your will. So those are things the court will consider. But remember, as you said, under the Inheritance Act, the court has a right to change somebody's will after they have died if the person has not made provision for somebody. So for example, somebody is pregnant, makes a will, then has a child after making the will and didn't get a chance to change the will. Then somebody can go to court on behalf of that baby, and the court will want to change the will to make provision for that child. Or you have a disabled child and made no provision, a disabled spouse and made no provision. Those are things that the court would look into in determining whether or not they should adjust your will to make provision for this person who has been excluded. But we encourage everybody, make your will. And please do not wait until you are very, very ill, because that is one of the reasons why we are saying that is the will, why we have that. We keep saying we know persons who have made the will and then they have died. But the reality is a lot of us wait until we are dying to make the will, and then our family blame the wills for killing us. Let us make them and continue changing them. As soon as circumstances change, you just make a will. No, you have nothing. I leave all I have to my father, or to my mother, or to my parents. Make that will for now. And then you get something later on, or you get married, you change the will. You get a piece of land, you change the will. You buy another piece, you change the will. Somebody in the will should pass on, the witness, a beneficiary, the executors, change your will. Well, let us get in the culture and the habit of making wills so that we can change them as our circumstances change. It's really backward to be thinking that if you make a will, you're going to die. We can't reach first world status with that kind of thinking. So I want to encourage persons to stop thinking like that, and let us start really, really looking positively at sorting out our estate. And none of us going to live forever. Let us look at sorting out our estate and don't leave a lot of problems behind our relatives. Another text message: I've been living on a piece of land for the past 19 years undisturbed. It was given to me and others by then MP, which was given to him by a sugar estate. I have no papers. What can I do to get a title? I'm going to encourage you to survey the piece of land. survey the piece you have got. I hope you say you have been living on it, which is great. I hope you have electricity because, and I keep asking persons, do you have electricity? Because a lot of time persons don't have any documentation to show ownership. But I could always ask JPS when you enter into the contract for the supply, and that will help in terms of the timeline, which is why I keep asking, not that I want to know person's status, because I usually ask electricity because it's so easy to get onto the electricity supply, but so difficult to get water supply. And I always say that is the difference between a private sector and a public sector body. Because the private JPS is in the business of making money. And they receive, they know whether or not they rack up a multi-billion dollar bill, taxpayers have to pay it. So when I try to get water for my clients, it's like pulling teeth, but you just write a letter to JPS and you can get on the and the supply so much easier. So that is one of the reasons why I usually ask persons if they have electricity, because it will help me in terms of timeline. This is Land Solution.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45. Looking for signage and branding for your business? Call the experts at Hieroglyphics Limited, located at 14 Bellatra Avenue, Kingston 10. We do all types of signs, including backlit signs, metal signs, routed signs, channel letter signs, vehicle wraps, banners, and much more. Call us today at 876-906-6910 or 876-906-8196. Hieroglyphics Limited, taking you to the next level.
Farmers, come for a candid conversation with the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr. Learn more about the agricultural sector and the role we all play with its development. That's a Morning with the Minister, every second and fourth Friday of every month during Farm Talk with Alfie McKenzie, right here on Power 106 FM.
Land Solutions continues during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113-5. 876-922-4113-5. The text line for Land Solutions is the same as the WhatsApp number, 876-387-3183. 876-387-3183. The law firm Brown, Findlay and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. You're encouraged to call ahead instead of just turning up. The numbers to call the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company, 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. They do have an office, as we said, in Ocho Rios, St. Anne, just in case you would rather call that number directly, especially in relation to speaking with one of the lawyers or the lawyer on duty on a Saturday, but not Saturday, I beg your pardon, on a Thursday from 10 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. The number for the Ocho Rios offices of the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company, 876-974-6083, 876-974-6083. And as we said, a lawyer is on duty every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Ocho Rios law offices of Brown, Findlay and Company. Let's go back to attorney at law, Gloria Brown.
Thank you, Dervan. Number to call 922-411-325. And the text line 387-3183. I've always listened to your program. I would like to extend my appreciation to you for keeping me informed. I'm interested in property and want to purchase. How do I go about it? I spoke with the seller, who directed me to his attorney, who gave me the price. I haven't seen the property in a while, and my sisters say there are some vandalism in the form of theft taking place on the premises. So you have to decide whether or not you really want to buy that property. Because if there's theft taking place, I'm not exactly sure what you mean when you say there's vandalism and theft. I don't know if there's a house and it's been vandalized, or there are crops and persons are reaping them. But if you have decided that you're going to buy this property, then you need to get a lawyer who will contact the seller's lawyer. And both lawyers will agree. Then the seller's lawyer will send your lawyer an agreement for sale with a copy of the title, the property tax receipt, and evidence that water is paid over. There's water on the property. After your lawyer has got those, then that's the time when you're going to go and survey the property and value the property, and that will tell you if it's worth it. Because if there's a house and it's been vandalized, then of course the price would be reduced. So you have to decide how much you want that property, and then you let your lawyer contact the other lawyer to start the process. If you're buying cash, usually we say about 30 days or so, 30 to 60 days. If you're using a mortgage, you're borrowing money to buy the property, usually we say 120 days. That's to complete the transaction. And we encourage persons who are buying property to, as best as possible, get pre-qualified first. Go to your mortgage institution, take your relevant documentation in terms of salary, so you can get approved. A pre-qualification, we call it. So the bank can say, in your situation, we can lend you such and such an amount. So you are already ahead of the game when you start. Because if you say you're going to complete in 120 days and for some reason you don't complete on that in that time, you might have to pay interest to the persons who are selling. So that's my advice to you. Get your attorney to determine if you really want the property, go and view it, and then get your attorney to contact the other attorney to start the process. The number to call if you want to talk to me on air is 922-4113, 922-4114, and 922-4115. And the text line is 387-3183. 387-3183, and you can also send a WhatsApp message to that number. Another text message. My mother gave me a piece of land as a gift in 1995. A JP did the indenture form, and my mother signed it. I surveyed it in my name, and it is in the process of registering. Can she go behind my back and build the same land? No, she can build it, but the other person would not be able to get it over you because she has already given it to you. It is now yours. She has given it to you already, so she can't go. Even if she wills it to somebody else, they would not be able to get it. Which is why I'm encouraging persons, and I see you are doing the right thing. As soon as you get a piece of land, get the title for it. Don't wait to get the title for it, because sometimes persons give you property and they feel they can get it back. Whether it's a gift or a sale, do not wait. Survey it right away, and you have done that, and you are applying for your title. But mom wills it to another one of the sisters or brothers. They might want to come after it, but that time, hopefully, you'd have had your title by now, and I hope she would not do that. My grandmother died and left a piece of land for me. My mother was living on the land, but she died. I can't find the title. What can I do? If you can't find the title and you're sure there's a title for the property, just contact the titles office. You have one in Montego Bay, one in Mandeville, one in Kingston. Just go to those offices and get a copy of the title. If you have the property tax receipt, that will be helpful in helping you to get a copy of the title. Take the property tax receipt with you to the title's office, and they can use that to help you to get a copy of the title. Remember, title is a public document. You don't need any permission from anybody. You can get anybody's title to see how much they bought the land for, if they owe any money on it, as long as you have the money to pay for the copy. And if you don't know the title number, it costs $1,000. If you know the title number, it costs $500. But titles are public documents. And remember, even though it seems like a little piece of paper, if you should lose your title, it costs you hundreds of thousands of dollars to replace it. So put away your title carefully. And I always encourage persons who are abroad. Persons in Jamaica, you have your relatives abroad, you're going to give them the property later on in life. Especially the older relatives, give the title. You can't keep it in a safe deposit box, and a lot of the banks phasing out those things. Give it to your relatives for them to keep. Because sometimes persons pass on, and before the relatives can come, the owners come and take what is theirs. So I encourage persons to not just leave your documents there in your home, give it to somebody responsible, your children, etc. They are the ones you are going to give the property to leave it, take it to them for them to keep, and don't just leave it there. Because I know a lot of the older people, they love to hold on to your documents. I know how it is. But sometimes it's not always best, because I've seen where a lot of persons have had to do lost title applications when they are sorting out relatives' estates because the owners have taken the properties. So I'm encouraging persons as best as possible. Secure your documentation. If you don't even want to give the relatives the title, give them at least a copy so they know. And let the relatives know where the properties are. Because I've had more and more persons contacting me. My mother had a piece of land in St. Mary and she passed. Can you find it for me? Because I think, a lot of persons, especially those who have never been to Jamaica, they see the like a dot on the map and they see that it's really like a dot. So I could just go to St. Mary and say, can you show me where Miss Liza piece of land is? Now, Jamaica is bigger than it looks on the map. So I'm encouraging persons, get documentation for your land. Leave a survey diagram, leave a title, leave something so the relatives can know where the land is. Because we have some areas where as soon as persons hear that Miss Liza has died, they have papers to show that Miss Liza sold them the land even though they never met her, or they start going on the land to take it over. Persons know these things, so I'm encouraging us that us both be more responsible in terms of how we deal with the land. And a lot of those relatives outside of Jamaica, please come and deal with your relatives' land. If you don't want it, sell it so you can buy something where you are, but please come and deal with your relatives' land and don't just walk away and leave it like that. Land is extremely valuable in Jamaica, and we're all very aware of that. Another text message. Is it possible someone who is not the owner of a property in Jamaica to obtain a copy of a title? The person is asking the same thing I just said. If yes, how would I go about it? I need it for NWC. Okay, matters. Yes, anybody can get a copy of a title, as I just said. You can go to title office in Montego Bay, in Kingston, in Mandeville as well, and get a copy of the title. Also, you can go online. You can go to the NLA website, and if you know the title number, you can do a search, get a copy, and download a copy of the title and pay online $500. So you can also do on the online. I think it's back up. It was out for a few months, but the service is back. So you can apply online on the NLA's website to get a copy of the title. Number to call 922-411-325. The text line is 387-3183. Waiting for as usual. Have a title or the grantees are deceased. How do I go about getting my relatives' portion titled? I need to know if there were tenants in common on the title or they were joint tenants and it's written on the title. Because if they were joint tenants on the title, the property will go to the one who died last. If there were tenants in common, however, each person would have had their share. So I'd love for you to get a copy of the title and look at it. Also, though, I wonder if your relative had built up a house or so on their share. So there are some things I need, some more information I would need to have. And you send me the text message, which means you have my number. So how about giving me a call afterwards to answer some of those questions? Because if they were joint tenants and your mom or your relative built a house for themselves and that little piece, you know that little piece belongs to that relative, then I would advise you to survey that piece, but you're going to have to deal with the estate of that relative. So if it was suppose your mother or your father, you're going to have to administer the estate or probate the will if there was one. And then it will belong to whoever the next of kin or whoever it was willed to. So we need a little bit more information on that. The text line 387-3183, and that's also the WhatsApp line 387-3183. And remember, I'll be in Ocherios this Thursday between 10 and 1. And the Ocherios number 974-6083. But otherwise, we're in the Winchester Business Center, and the office numbers 908-1950 or 908-3588. You can call the Winchester number anytime, 908-1950 or 908-3588. And Winchester Business Center is in Halfway Tree. But just remind those outside of Jamaica, you don't need to come see us if you have a land problem. You need a title, just survey your property. Just send me a WhatsApp message or the message has to say title. Just send that message to 387-3183. The person said that the relatives are tenants in common, which means that, but the challenge is though, unless you can do an adverse possession, you might have to find that you have to deal with 4 of those estates. Everybody will have to deal with their relative estates. I'm going to ask you to give me a call after the program so we can discuss it a little more to see how best to deal with this matter. I hope your relative made a will. And remember, whether persons are tenants in common or joint tenants, you should still make a will. So the tenants in common can will their share directly. But the joint tenants would have to say, John Brown should die before me. Suppose John and Mary and Peter are on the title and John is making a will. If Mary and Peter should die before me, I give the property. Because even if you will the property and you don't, if you will the property and you are not the last one to die, there's nothing for the person in your will to get. And I discuss this a little more after the break. This is Land Solutions.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3 o'clock.
Under the law helps you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. We've been doing it for 50 years, and that's right. The program is brought to you on Wednesdays about a Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy. Under the law at 6:45 and 8:55 a.m. and at 4 and 9:55 p.m. Wednesdays on Power 106 FM.
You're listening to Land Solutions during both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Land Solutions, the program where all your land-related matters are dealt with. Anything at all to do with the sale or purchase of land, you've come to the right place. Here are the numbers to call: 876-922-4113-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number for Land Solutions, 876-387-3183. 876-387-3183. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com. gloria@landsolutionsja.com. The website address is landsolutionsja.com. landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The law firm Brown, Findley and Company is headquartered at Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office in Ocho Rios, St. Anne, more precisely, Shop 6, upstairs, the Jamaica National Building. You're encouraged to call ahead instead of just turning up. The numbers for the law offices of Brown, Findley and Company, 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. If you wish to call the Ocho Rios office directly, that number is 876-974-6083. 876-974-6083. A lawyer is on duty every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Here once again is attorney at law, Gloria Brown.
Thank you, Dervan. A text message. Please explain how I go about getting a TRN for my son who lives in England so I can add his name to my title. And yes, you are definitely going to need a TRN for your son to add the name to the title. And as long as you anything in relation to title, buy land, sell land, add name to title, get a title for land, you have to have this TRN. So what you're going to do, you can always go to the tax administration website, but usually what we do, we just prepare the TRN form, a consent letter, and email those to you for you to sign. The important thing is that you're going to sign the TRN form, you're going to sign the consent letter, and you're going to take them to a notary. And remember that a lot of persons will sign before a lawyer. The lawyer is not a notary. The lawyer cannot witness the document. But a lot of lawyers are notaries. But not all lawyers are notaries. So the person must have a seal that says notary public. So the notary public is going to sign the notary is going to certify your passport, your son's passport or driver's license. And your son is going to sign the TRN form and the consent letter. The important thing to note, though, is the six that is used on the consent letter and on the TRN form must be the exact. Usually, I encourage the person to let the notary also sign the TRN form, even though there's no space there for the notary to sign. Above where your son will sign, get the notary somewhere above that. Because usually the notary signs the form and there is a little difference in the signature. The tax office will still accept it. Form, even though it's no provision, the notary will certify the photo ID and the notary will also sign the consent form. Yeah.
Apologies. Seems we're having some technical issues with the connection. Please stand by as we try to reconnect with Attorney at Law Gloria Brown on this week's edition of Land Solutions, the program where all your land related matters are dealt with, and we're still taking your calls. Back to you, Mrs. Brown. Ms. Brown.
Thank you, Dervan. I'm advised to my listeners. I'm told that I lost the connection for a little while there.
Yes.
So I was just explaining that when you're applying for the TRN and you are overseas, we will apply for you in office. We'll just send you a consent form giving us permission to apply for it. The TRN form will send to you to be completed, or we'll complete it for you if we have the information. And we're going to ask you to take this TRN form and the consent letter, as well as a photocopy of your passport or your driver's license to a notary public. The notary will witness will sign these documents. Even though there's no place on the TRN form for the notary to sign, we still want the notary to sign above where you have signed and to put their seal there. Because if the signature is different from what is on the photo ID that you put on the TRN form and the consent, the tax office might not want to give us the TRN number. The TRN, because the N is for number. But if the notary signs the TRN form, the tax office will in most instances allow us to get the TRN. And what is this TRN? It's taxpayer registration number. It's a unique identifier. It's a unique number that each Jamaican should have. And you can't do business in Jamaica without this number. Taxpayer registration number, referred to as a TRN. My father gave me a house spot. I built a one-bedroom. He died 12 years later. How do I go about getting a diagram? Well, you get a diagram from a surveyor. It doesn't have anything to do with your father dying, etc. You can go and get a diagram from a surveyor. The important thing, though, what I would love to know is what does the title say? Because if the title says the land is not to be subdivided, if there's a title, if it says the land is not to be subdivided, you might have a problem. But if there's no title, or there's nothing on the title to say the land is not to be subdivided, just survey the piece of land, and will gladly help you to get a title. The number to call 922-4113 to 5. The text line is 387-3183, and that's also the WhatsApp line. 387-3183. Send us a WhatsApp message or a text message. Many text messages. I want to buy a piece of land to build a house, but I cannot afford it. How could I get help to buy the land? Well, that's the problem being faced by so many Jamaicans. How do you get help? I wonder if you're working. Because if you're working, I'm hoping you are contributing to the National Housing Trust. And remember that you don't have to be in formal employment. If you're selling, maybe you're selling little things on the roadside, maybe you're a farmer, maybe you're doing some gardening, whatever you're doing, I'm encouraging my listeners, no matter how small it is, try to pay your NHD, National Housing Trust. Just go into one of the NHD offices and ask them how you can go about paying your NHD, because that's the only way I can think if you can't afford That's the only way you can get some money to borrow that maybe you can, you'll be able to afford to pay back. But keep trying, keep working at it, and even though they don't have any money, still try to get a lawyer when you're about to buy the property. Don't just go and give somebody your money because you don't have any money. Don't just go and give somebody your money and say, tell me a piece of land. Try and get a lawyer to look at the documents for you. If you're buying land and somebody says to you, we're not using any lawyer, then be very, very careful and ask yourself, why is it that the person is saying we're not using a lawyer? Ask yourself that question. And remember, there's a legal aid clinic at the Bethel Baptist Church in the heart of Halfway Tree, 6 Oak Road. It's across from that supermarket there. 6 Oak Road, Bethel Baptist Church. Every Saturday morning, there's a legal aid clinic there. You could just look for the number and call the church. It's just $500 you pay to see a lawyer. And there are excellent lawyers there. I'm there sometimes. Miss Finley is there. We have a schedule that will tell us who is on duty. So even if you say you can't afford a lawyer before you can find $500. A lot of us were in these land problems because we're desperate. You want somewhere to start a little thing. And because of that, we get into a lot of problems. And then when we buy it and it becomes a problem, and then you want this problem to solve it from yesterday, and it can't be solved so easily, then a lot of times we get frustrated. But I'm encouraging persons, get proper advice before you start entering into any agreement to buy property. Because a lot of the problems we're having is because persons did not go about things the right way. I've said it all the time, there are a lot of people selling land and they don't have any right to sell it. Because it was your father's land and the father has died, but that will not give you the right to sell unless you go and administer your father's estate. But you can't just get up and say, hey, daddy died, I'm the big son, I'm the best son, I'm the one who buried daddy. That will not give you the right to sell the property. So I'm encouraging persons who are about buying property the right way so that we can help you properly when you are ready to get a title for land. Number to call 922-411-325. Text line 387-3183. 387-3183. Or remember, you can send me an email, gloria@landsolutionsga.com. gloria@landsolutionsga.com. Or you can just send me a text message or call us in office. Remember, I'm in the Ulterior's office this Thursday between 10 and 1, and the Ulterior's office is on the Jamaica National Building in the heart of Ulterior's. Trying to catch up on the text messages. My grandfather died and left a piece of land for me more than 9 years. The land was not in my grandfather's name, but he gave it to my father. How do I get it in? I'm not able to understand the message. Grandfather died and left a piece of land. Oh, okay, for more than 9 years. The land was not in my grandfather's name, but he gave it to my father. How can my father get it? Grandfather just died 9 years ago. So you're going to need to administer. I hope grandfather gave your father some documentation, because if grandfather gave daddy documentation as to own the land, maybe a receipt, a letter, anything, then I would advise your father to survey the land so we can start looking about the title. If there's no documentation, your father is going to have to go and administer grandfather's estate, your grandfather's estate, and that can be a problem because if father administers the estate, the property is going to belong to all of grandfather's children plus his wife if he had a wife. Because word of mouth cannot give the land. So any gift of land, you need to write it down. Even a letter, dear son, I'm giving you this piece of land to build your house on, and it's yours, and nobody should disturb it. Write it down. Write it down. It doesn't matter how it's written. Even a little letter will do. But we have to have something in writing, or else we run into problems later on. And as best as possible, as I said before, there's a legal aid clinic at the Bethel Baptist Church, so we don't need any excuse to say we cannot afford a lawyer. But I guess it's easy to say because some of us personally listening are way out of town. But I'm sure our churches around the place will have legal aid clinics. And if you have, just let us know on this program so we can at least advise persons. But I encourage persons. Land is one of the biggest investments we're going to make in life. So as best as possible, do not just go and give persons your money like that. Because if John sells you the property and it was owned by John's father and John died, John's brothers and sisters can come to you and say, hey, it's our property, please, we need it back. If John goes and administers his father's estate now, then John is in charge and John can go and deal with the property and can sell. So make sure anybody selling you land, show you a document to show that they are the owner. And then you pass that by your attorney. And don't let any attorney even call you to say, come in and sign because you're buying from somebody and they're representing. Let them give you the papers to carry home if it's not your lawyer. So John is selling land and John sends you to his lawyer. Let the lawyer give you documents to take home with you so you can show it to your lawyer. Don't just go in at an office and just sign. And any document you take to your attorney, make sure you keep copies before, especially when it's a will. Make sure you have copies before you leave your documents with anybody, not just an attorney, with anybody. Because when you lose that only copy of the will, it can't be replaced. This is Land Solution.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
Poor roads a major concern? What about those drains that are in need of repair or cleaning? Who's responsible for repairing my road and when will it be done? Join us this and every Tuesday morning at 8 during Morning Agenda as we travel on our roads with the National Works Agency and get answers to these and other concerns. You're welcome to visit their website at www.nwa.gov.jm. See the tender notices link for projects to be undertaken. You may also call them toll-free at 1-888-429-5NWA. That's 1-888-429-5692. Or follow them on Twitter at NWA_JA and Facebook at www.facebook.com/NWA Jamaica. The National Works Agency, developing safe, reliable, and quality roads.
It's the final segment of Land Solutions for today. Here's your opportunity to get in those questions. Those who were a little shy or reluctant to pick up the phone and call, now would be a good time. 876-922-4113-5. 876-922-4113-5. The text line for Land Solutions is the same number as the WhatsApp number, 876-387-3183, 876-387-3183. The website is landsolutionsja.com, landsolutionsja.com. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/landsolutionsja, facebook.com/landsolutionsja. The email address is gloria@landsolutionsja.com, gloria@landsolutionsja.com. The law firm Brown, Findlay and Company is headquartered in Suite 39 of the Winchester Business Center, corner of Winchester Road and Hope Road in Halfway Tree, St. Andrew. They also have an office at Shop 6 upstairs, the Jamaica National Building in Ocho Rios, St. Anne. You're encouraged to call ahead instead of just turning up at the law offices of Brown, Findlay and Company. The numbers to call, 876-908-1950 or 876-908-3518. There is a lawyer on duty every Thursday at the Ocho Rios offices of the law firm Brown, Findlay and Company. That lawyer is available from 10 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. If you need to call the Ocho Rios office directly, that number is 876-974-6083, 876-974-6083. For the final segment on today's edition of Land Solutions, here's attorney at law, Gloria Brown.
Thank you, Dervan. A text message. I've been living on a piece of property, paying lease. The person wanted to sell, but he passed on. He mentioned about selling before he died. And now his children are saying they want to sell. We don't know if they have title for the land. Can they sell without title, and what steps can we take? I would suggest that you ask them to go to their lawyer because they're going to need to administer their father's estate or probate his will. And that's the exact thing I was talking about a while ago. Yes, tell them you're interested because you love to buy, of course, but they're going to have to administer the estate. And if a lot of you on it, you're going to have to get subdivision. So ask them to go to their attorney and then ask them to let their attorney contact your attorney so the process can start. Because I wouldn't want you to lose out on something like this that you have been living on. But you can't just sell it, let one child sell you because they're not in a position to sell at the moment. They have to sort out their father's estate first. So let them speak to their attorney and let the attorney talk to your attorney. Two attorneys will deal with this. Living on this piece of property for the longest time, the person who said his land has died. Now his children say they want to sell. Same thing, can they sell without a title? And what steps do we take? Two different persons, except that one was leasing. I need a little bit more information from you. You have not said you are leasing as the other person said. You say you have been living on this property for the longest time. And if you have not been paying any lease, then it would not suit you to enter any agreement with these persons because you have been living in there for such a long time, as you said, on this for the longest time, over 12 years, then it's really yours unless it's government land. So talk to your lawyer. My grandfather left.
Sorry, Ms. Brown, we have a caller for you.
Thank you, Dervan. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes, sir.
Yes, could you advise me concerning this one? If it is the person who is selling the land, it would be their responsibility to provide access to water, connection to water.
So, when the sale is completed, their lawyer will give you a letter to take to the water commission to get your water.
Oh, yes, I got that letter, but the water commission, there are some difficulties. They said that wasn't dealt with. So whoever the person it's a subdivision, so the persons who purchased the lot, they are the ones who need to come together and pay money to get the water here.
No, well, if it's a subdivision, it's really the person who sold it to you who should have put in the water and all of that. They should not have been able to get a title for the land without putting in the infrastructure if it was a proper subdivision.
Right. Okay. So the responsibility would be the person who sells the land.
Who did the subdivision? Yes, you need to ask the parish council what was the agreement if there was any subdivision really.
All right. Good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir.
Another one for you, Ms. Brown.
Thanks, Dervan. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My mother gave me a piece of land. She captured the land in the 60s. And when she gave me in the 83s, I make sure get it fenced off. And in 2000, the government come in and survey the land. So my mother piece surveyor and the piece that she gave me, I survey it. But I lost the paper that the surveyor gave me, but I get the lot number 95. So I am blind. I would like to know what I must do to pay the tax on it.
All right, the tax is the least of your trouble. What you need to do is to try and get a title. But let me ask you something. Do you remember the name of the surveyor who surveyed it? The name. You don't remember the name of the surveyor?
Only.
No. Anybody else surveyed the same time you surveyed?
Yes. My mother won with his. Oh, that's a
and both of you using the same surveyor?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, and you have your mother's diagram still?
Well, it's not me. My sister has the diagram.
Right. Ask your sister what is the name of the surveyor. And if they were surveyed at the same time, you can send somebody to the survey department to do a search to get a copy of your diagram for you.
Okay, ma'am.
Get that done and give me a call and let me see how I can assist you.
Yeah, thank you very much, mate.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay.
All right. So if you can't send the diagram, you can always contact the survey department because they have copies of all the diagrams or most of the diagrams. And especially if you know when it was done and the name of the surveyor, that would help in terms of locating it. My grandfather left the land title with my mom. Her house burned down about 11 years ago, and her friend find out she no longer has the paper and going behind her back and paying tax for the land. Well, I wish somebody would pay mine. That's a good friend who is paying the taxes. But tell your mom what she needs to do is to go to the title's office and get a copy of the tax paper. Also, she needs to control the land, fence it, bush it, keep control of it. Because if the friend paying the taxes and she's not in possession, she can't get the land. So what mom needs to do, get a copy of the title, sort out her grandfather's estate so she can deal with it and get the title, get a new title for the property. If there's no will, it's going to have to go to all of grandfather's children, etc. But she needs to start the process. The same number that you have sent me the WhatsApp, and I'm going to ask you to call me and call me a little later so I can give you some more advice. But maybe this friend is just realizing that mom needs a little help. I hope the friend not thinking that paying the taxes can get them the land. Paying taxes cannot let you own land, or else half of Jamaica not paying theirs. So you could pay that.
Sorry, another one for you, Miss Brown.
Thanks, Dervan. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I purchased a piece of land. I already, but I want to pay my taxes. The person who sold me the land told me that he would give me a tax receipt to take along with me, but I'm not getting anywhere. How can I go about getting a piece of? What you need to do is not paying the taxes important. You need to get a title. Anybody can pay tax. So survey your piece of land. So all about surveying, all about the title. Call a surveyor, and after you have surveyed it, you call me and I will assist you. It's already surveyed. Oh, wonderful. All right, just send me a WhatsApp message and tell me title, and I tell you what you need to do. Okay, I will. Just send me a WhatsApp message at 387-3183. All you have to do is say title. Okay. 387-3183, and I tell you what I would need to do. Okay. To get the title for you. All right. A property was built to me and relative, so it is tenants in common. Is it right for the other owners to tell you what to do, even though she was very specific as to what you got? I use my site for renting, but I am told that my tenants cannot use the fruit trees because the land is not mine. That's not true. If it's will to you as tenants in common, everybody has equal rights. Well, let me not say that. Let me see what the will says, because maybe the will says from the breadfruit tree to the mango tree is yours. So I would love to see a copy of the will so I can properly advise you. So I'm going to ask you to give me a little bit more information on that one. So I encourage persons as best as possible, I always do each week, to sort out your affairs, deal with the titling, deal with the will. So if you have a piece of land and you want a title, just send me a text message, 73183. All you need to do is say title. But I encourage you, before you send the text message, survey your piece of land. But let the surveyor look at the title. The title says the land is not to be subdivided. Don't do your survey unless you talk to me. If there's no title or there's no condition on the title saying the land is not to be subdivided, then I'm ready to run with the title for you. If you have had your land for more than 7 years, and there's nothing on it to say the land is not to be subdivided, then I'm ready to get a title for you, and you can get the title without going through the formal subdivision process. So what am I saying to my listeners this afternoon? I'm saying to us, you notice that the other day, there was a report to say how far away we are. We're going to achieve about 70% of the 2030. We're trying to achieve first world status by 2030. So there are some markers that we need to gauge where we are. And we're only 17% there, and this is 8 years from now. And one of the things I've always said is that we cannot achieve first world status if we're the way we are with land. Land is a mess. And no first world country has land like the way we have our land, no order. 40% of the people no title. We build where we want to build. We build on a body bank. We do anything we want to do. We have to formalize this whole land ownership and land use and how people get their titles. And we cannot, I cannot believe when a person walks into my office to say, hey, I'm living on a piece of land that I, they there and I've made a house on it and I say I need a valuation. And first come with a valuation, $50 million the house is valued on the piece of land and they have nothing to show. How can we in 2022 do that kind of investment on land when we have no documentation? Not even a piece of paper to say Mama gave it to me. We just saw it and other people. And the first impression I would say, but it's not me alone build on it. That is the mindset. Other people build it so I can build. And I've already said to us, puss and dog don't have the same look. Mr. Brown will get a title tomorrow and you work for 50 years and can't get one. I'm begging first, let us be more formal before we start building. Put things in order before we start building. I want to say thanks so much to my listeners who continue to support Land Solution. Thanks so much to Dervan, to Adrian, and to everybody who continues to support Land Solution. Land Solutions. Have a good day and be safe.
Protecting Jamaica's borders from illicit imports and exports is a key priority for the Jamaica Customs Agency. The JCA will remain vigilant and resolute in effectively fulfilling this mandate. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is 8:30.
Crime Stop Jamaica 311 unsolved. We need your help to solve the murder of 73-year-old Patrick Lawrence, a businessman and motel operator of 12 Top Road, St. Anne's Bay. A customer tried to rent a room at 10 p.m. on Saturday, 14th of May 2022, but couldn't find Mr. Lawrence. The police were summoned on Sunday morning and Mr. Lawrence's body was discovered close to a staircase with wounds to his head. Crime Stop and Concerned Citizens are offering a total reward of $750,000 for information leading to an arrest and charge. Call Crime Stop Jamaica 311. Solving crime pays.
There's a retirement crisis in Jamaica, with only approximately 10% of the working population saving towards retirement. Many people do not participate in a formal pension plan, such as contract workers and the self-employed, and some are not eligible for a government pension. Every member of the workforce has the opportunity to participate in a pension plan and secure a monthly income for their retirement. Join Real Business every Monday at 9:30 a.m. for an informative discussion with Peter Rose Hall, Managing Director of PPM Financial, discussing the importance of retirement planning and the solutions to move Jamaica out of this crisis. Retirement Wealth Creation is brought to you by PPM Financial Limited, taking you higher.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program. Both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website. Go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. Text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. What's on your mind this afternoon? We look forward to hearing from you. And we thank you very much for choosing both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. And let's see who has been messaging us so far. Where do we start? Let's say hello and good afternoon to Val James. Good day to you, Val James. Welcome. Jacqueline Simmons, good afternoon and blessings to you too. Gray Shim says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I see the deposit for a returned Red Stripe bottle has been increased to encourage people to bring back the empty ones. Supply woes may see an evolution to beer in a box, like milk cartons. JK, walk good. Thank you very much for your message, Gray Shim. Velta Wilson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. Thanks for a beautiful day on this Hurricane Gilbert anniversary. Sophia Nemard is in Newell, St. Elizabeth. Welcome, Sophia Nemard. Norman Hines is greeting everybody. He is in St. Thomas. Good to have you on board, Norman Hines. Welcome. Thank you very much. Let's hop across to YouTube and see what's happening. Donovan Campbell, good day to you. Thank you for joining us. Damian Pollock says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. One love to you too, Damian Pollock. Kareen Campbell says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm, viewers and listeners. Good afternoon, Kareen Campbell. Millicent Morris says, looking great. I love that. I love Phil Collins' songs so much. Only God knows. His voice is so unique. And the spirit that's in it, blessings and love. So clearly, Millicent Morris is a big Phil Collins fan. Well, this is one of his best works, both sides of the story. Cherry Henry says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan and listeners. To you too, Cherry Henry. Pure Illusion says, hi, Mr. Malcolm. If animals in the jungle decide to live in peace and harmony, how will the lion and tiger be fed to survive? You must understand that in this world, you must use the weak to survive. Well, if you're talking about the natural, what they call it, natural selection and the ecosystem, that's been going on from the beginning of time and will continue to happen. You'll have people who prey, and people who are preyed upon. Not going to escape that. Also messaging us, Asha Ash says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan, just tuning in from London, UK. Nothing but Queen over here from morning till night, so I have to tune in. Good to have you on board, Asha Ash. Sean Chambers says, good afternoon, Uncle Dervan. I don't feel well because I have a cold. We're sorry to hear that. Hope you'll get well soon. Alvin Daly says, good afternoon, Brother Dervan. Good afternoon, Alvin Daly. Good to have you on board. Thank you very much for joining us here on both sides of the story, Paro 106 FM. Let's clear some of the other messages now. Let's see. This is a message from Kevin, a voice note from Kevin, but we haven't been able to listen to that message just yet. Clarky Blessing, Huntstown, St. Mary says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Happy Monday to you and your listeners. Mr. Malcolm, the UK declared 10 days of mourning to mark the death of the Queen, while Jamaica declared 12 days. What will Jamaica achieve by this declaration? Just asking. Clarky Blessing, Huntstown, St. Mary. Only the individual or individuals who arrived at this declaration can answer the question. I have no idea. Clarky Bless in Huntstown, St. Mary. So those responsible for making the declaration are the best people to explain it for you. Let's see. The usual collection of stories sent to us by James in East London. King Charles in first security scare after man runs in front of car for picture. That's one of the stories coming out of the UK today. Breaking news, Prince Andrew heckled by someone shouting, "You're a sick old man," at apparently there was a procession, and it was at that point. Prince Harry will not, capital N-O-T, Prince Harry will not wear military uniform at Queen's Vigil, but Prince Andrew is allowed. Cops drag man from Queen's coffin procession for shouting slur against Prince Andrew. Mark Rowley, the Mets' new boss, starts work, we're told. Thank you very much, James in East London, for the usual collection of stories out of the UK. Here's a message from Diana saying, good afternoon, Dervan. Happy Monday to you and listeners around the world. Happy Monday to you too, Diana. Cuban in Georgia says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. I have to come to grips with the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. We convey our gratitude and well, he has sorries here. I don't think that's a word, Cuban in Georgia. For Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. Well done, Her Highness, says Cuban in Georgia. Beresford says, Miss Gloria. Oops, this was for Miss Brown. We'll have to send it to her. Oh, Miss Gloria, is it required to say the words, this is my last will and testament, or is it enough to merely state that I leave X to Y? I think it's the latter, Beresford, but we could forward your question to Ms. Brown and have her properly respond. How about that? We're doing that right now. Sending them, just dispatching that message now. And we're going to send Beresford's contact as well, just in case. So you should be fine, Beresford. You should get a response shortly from Ms. Brown. What's Richard saying here now? Let's see, where does this message start? That's the Ministry of National Security is somewhat the most technical and complex ministry to manage without the involvement and collaborative effort of every well-thinking, law-abiding citizen of the business called Jamaica. Crime and violence must be everybody's concern to resolve because this virus impacts everyone to some degree in all walks of life. I know that Dr. Horace Chang has done exceptionally well in his effort to at least reduce the very high volume of crime and violence in Jamaica without any significant help from the citizens of Jamaica, along with his what? Let's look for the rest of this message. Along with, where's the rest of your message, Richard? I think you're sending them in multiples now, so we don't even know where to start anymore. Let's see if we can pick up. So, right, the next page, his hardworking team, including Commissioner of Police, Major General Anthony Anderson, who plays a pivotal role in the confiscation of a number of illegal guns and ammunition. Mr. Malcolm, let me tell you of a truth. I don't know if you will agree with me. The Andrew Holness-led administration, the JCF and the JDF, cannot resolve the issue of crime, violence, and antisocial behavior in Jamaica alone. The least they can do, if they're participating in any wrongdoing, lawlessness, or illegal activities, they need to desist from these illicit practices in order to better able to regain strength, boldness, and we have to wait for the other message, this one, strength, boldness, and courage to fight this virus in Jamaica. My final point to you, Mr. Malcolm, is that a so-called crime plan to fight crime, violence, and antisocial behavior in Jamaica will be null and void and will not come to fruition if every sober and conscientious adult Jamaican refrain from playing their role in this effort in order to balance the work of the Ministry of National Security. That's the reality. That's Richard's contribution. What do you think? The lines are open. Someone saying, hi, hola, Senor Malcolm. Ola to you too. Thank you very much for your message. Let's go back over to WhatsApp. Patrick, otherwise known as Jamaica Love, says, Bless up, teach in class. Good to know you're in class today. Another message. Good afternoon, Dervan. The discrepancy between the days of mourning for Jamaica and England was brought about because of the days that were originally set out once the Queen had passed. There's there's a preset plan of what should happen after the passing for the Queen, which dictates that what should happen immediately at all media houses, the days of mourning, among other things. Jamaica, being a part of the Commonwealth, may have taken the 12 days as set out in the plan. I'm trying to find a link for you, which was posted last week. All right, we'll look out for your link. TS, thank you very much for your message here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Let's go to another WhatsApp message. Oops, look at the time.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45.
Under the law helps you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. We've been doing it for 50 years, and that's right. The Brotherhood brought to you all the way today about a Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy. Under the law at 6:45 and 8:55 a.m. and at 4 and 9:55 p.m. Wednesdays on Power 106 FM.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. More messages pouring in on WhatsApp. Mr. Malcolm, I would like to hear someone ask Prime Minister Holness why he ordered a 12-day mourning period in Jamaica for Queen Elizabeth, while the rest of the world, including the UK, is observing a 10-day period. Is the PM suggesting he and Jamaica are more loyal and subservient to the British monarchy? Talk about Buckymassa mentality, says patriotic Jamaican in New York. Thank you very much for your message. Kevin, we still haven't been able to listen to your message to determine whether we can play the message. And let's see. Perhaps in another break we'll try. We'll try to see if we can listen to the message off air, the voice note off air, and then make a decision. Casita Johnson says, Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Pleasant Monday, raining, but always love your real comments on all issues. Thank you very much, Casita Johnson, for your message on YouTube. All the very best. A lot of history to share with you. Let's see how much of it we can lay on right now. On this day in 1846, Elizabeth Barrett eloped with Robert Browning. Elizabeth Barrett was already a respected poet who had published literary criticism and Greek translations in addition to poetry. Meanwhile, Robert Browning, the son of a bank clerk, had studied at the University of London and continued his education at his parents' home, reading extensively and writing poetry. His early work was harshly criticized. While trying his hand at drama, he discovered the dramatic monologue, which he adapted to his own poetry in Dramatic Lyrics, published in 1842. While most critics rejected the work, Elizabeth Barrett defended it. Browning wrote to thank her for her praise and asked to meet her. She hesitated at first, but finally relented, and the couple quickly fell in love. Barrett's strict father disliked Browning, whom he viewed as an unreliable fortune hunter, so most of the courtship was conducted in secret. On this day in 1846, while her family was away, Barrett sneaked out of the house and met Browning at St. Marylebone Parish Church, where they were married. She returned home for a week, keeping the marriage a secret, then fled with Browning to Italy. She never saw her father again. And as we've told you on so many occasions on this program, both Elizabeth Barrett and her husband Robert Browning had Jamaican connections. Elizabeth's father, Edward Barrett Moulton Barrett, was born at Cinnamon Hill above the Rose Hall Great House, and Robert Browning's great-great-grandfather was a shoemaker and tavern keeper in Port Royal. Japan's first railway was inaugurated on this day in 1872 between Shimbashi, later Shiodome, and Yokohama, present Sakuragicho. The date is in Tenpo calendar, October 14, in present Gregorian calendar. Japan relied on the United Kingdom financially and technically. 27 years before that, Jamaica's railway service started on November 20, 1845. The Jamaica Railway Corporation was officially opened in November 1845. That's the 20th of November 1845. The first leg, Kingston to Spanish Town, was opened by the then colonial governor, the Earl of Elgin. That's why we have an Elgin Road in the corporate area. About 11:30 a.m., the governor climbed aboard and took a seat in the stage carriage. The 10-carriage train pulled out of the Kingston terminal to the sounds of the 1st West India Regiment, beginning the first railway excursion in the British West Indies. It pulled into the Spanish Town terminal, located at Angels, 2.5 miles west of Spanish Town, 1 hour later at 12:30 p.m. The return trip was quicker, taking only 40 minutes, with the train reaching a maximum speed of 30 miles per hour. The railway cost £222,250 and was built soon after the first public railway in England, making it one of the first in the world. William and David Smith, merchant, landowner, and planter, respectively, were instrumental in the development of Jamaica's rail service. The first practical typewriter was sold to customers on this day in 1873. And that always brings back memories, because at school we did the business subjects. We didn't have computers at the time, but we had typewriters. And so there are those of us who benefited from those classes. We can type very fast without looking at the keyboard. Let's go to the phone lines, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Dervan. God save the king.
Welcome.
Yeah. I say, Dervan, I like the historical presentation, from the school talent to subside. And Dervan, the poems, I think it's very important, where the person is coming from, the person mindset by the question he asks, opposition party, for the polls, you have to defeat polls. The government in power will collapse. And concerning Facebook server, everything good man got a new device, that 2-point authentication. Mess up like they got a huge line. They just said I've tried on the photos yet. So, I'm saying in Jamaica that tell the people they must wise up, Black people must start loving one another. White man killing black people in Jamaica nowadays. There's war, black people too, like But in Jamaica, the Ethiopian, they feel like white people are white people too. Like what happened in Russia and Ukraine. It's got to be more about humanity, not about race, color, class, or nation. See, living in the positive. Do I know the good will conquer evil?
All right. Well, thank you very much. Happy to provide a sounding board for you. Thank you very much for the call. All the best. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5, 876-922-4112 to 5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. That number is 876-365-3346. Another significant happening on this day, 1912. On this day in 1912, Calabar High School opened its doors. In 1839, William Knibb, Thomas Burchell, and James Philippa, the three leading English Baptist missionaries working in Jamaica, moved for the creation of a college for training native Baptist ministers. Out of this, Calabar Theological College came into being in 1843 and was first sited in the little village of Calabar near Rio Bueno, Trelawney. The name Calabar was brought to Jamaica by slaves from Nigeria, West Africa, where there's an old river port city by the name. In fact, when Calabar celebrated its centenary in 2012, a group of students from the school and a couple of the administrators were gifted a trip to Nigeria, and they were treated like royalty, outriders and all. Right, back to the story. So in 1868, Calabar College was removed to East Queen Street, Kingston, where a normal school for training teachers and a high school for boys were added. Shortly after, the high school went out of operation and the teacher training activities ceased, leaving the practicing school, which is now Calabar All Age, and the Theological College, which was relocated at Chetola Park on Sly Pen Road in 1904. At the beginning of the century, there were very few high schools in existence to educate the working class and the rising middle class. It meet this need that in 1912, through the instrumentality of the Reverends Ernest Price and David Davis, principal and tutor, respectively, of Calabar Theological College, Calabar High School came into existence under the sponsorship of the Baptist Missionary Society of London and the Jamaica Baptist Union. It opened on the 12th of September with 26 boys, and the foundation was firmly laid in the Christian tradition. Reverend Price was the first headmaster. Within a year, enrollment had reached 80, and the school had received government recognition. An early benefactor was Miss Elizabeth Purcell, who in 1919 left the adjoining property, Studley Park, in trust for the school. In 1952, Calabar Theological College and High School moved from their location at Studley Park to Red Hills Road, where 60 acres of land, which was then called Industry Pen, had been purchased for the reciting of both institutions. At the time, this was a thinly populated, underdeveloped area, and many people thought the move unwise. The new school was built to house 350 boys, but before long, extensions became necessary. Boarding facilities were provided up to 1970. When boarding ceased, dormitories were subsequently converted to workshops. In 1967, the Theological College moved to Mona as part of the United Theological College of the West Indies, and the high school took over the space vacated. This is the section of the premises which the boys called Long Island. At about this time, a portion of the Calabar lands now occupied by Boulevard Supercenter and the Pleasanton housing development was sold. As a result of the massive increase in population in this section of the city, the school has grown by leaps and bounds. A privately run extension school was added in 1971. In 1978, the school adopted a shift system, incorporating the day and extension schools at the request of the Ministry of Education. Presently, there are more than 1,750 students on roll, with 8 forms in each year group from grades 7 to 11 and 4 forms in grades 12 and 13, sixth form. Calabar High School was famous almost from the start. It established a reputation for scholarship, which has been maintained over the years, as seen from the large number of major scholarships such as Jamaica and Rhodes scholarships, which have been won by Calabar. There's more after the break.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is 4 o'clock.
Sharing with you the story of Calabar High School on this, the 110th anniversary of the founding of this institution. Calabar High School pioneered the teaching of science, Spanish, and agriculture. Sports, particularly athletics, have always been important, and the championship trophy has been won quite a number of times, the first time being in 1930. Calabar was the first school to have a swimming pool and won the swimming competition repeatedly for many years. The boys of the school at the time helped to dig the present pool in 1953. Mind you, the pool itself right now is out of service and needs to be brought back into service. Today, we celebrate the contribution of Calabar High School to Jamaica and indeed the world. Now, here's a connection that we're going to help you to make. When Aston Wesley Powell was 15 years old, his father sought to enroll him in Calabar High School, but Powell was rejected because he was too old. It was then that he pledged to found a school that would cater to students who were too old and too poor. And so 6 years later, when he was 21 years old, Aston Wesley Powell founded Excelsior. At the time, he had only Cambridge School Certificate qualifications. Between 1943 and 1946, he enrolled at Columbia University, where he read for a Bachelor of Science in Geology and a Master of Arts in Secondary Administration. On the completion of his studies, he returned to his post as principal of Excelsior School. Between 1947 and 1948, the first 7 buildings were erected on the present site at 137 Mountain View Avenue with a loan from the Bank of Nova Scotia. The school relocated from North Street to the school at Antrim in September 1948. Wesley Powell subsequently sought to secure the long-term interest of the school by selling the institution to the Methodist Church in 1951. Interestingly, the negotiations for the purchase of Excelsior were led by a Reverend Hugh Sherlock, a graduate of Calabar High School, the school that rejected Aston Wesley Powell, telling him that he was too old when his father tried to get him into Calabar. One can only imagine the nature of those negotiations between Reverend Dr. Powell and the Reverend Hugh Sherlock. Today, Excelsior has a population of more than 2,000 students with a staff complement of about 100. In 2007, the sixth form was re-established to meet the demands of students from Excelsior High School and others. Excelsior School was founded on January 19, 1931 by Aston Wesley Powell, who admitted the first 5 students. Excelsior School was situated at 8 Hampton Street in Campbelltown, the home of Aston Wesley Powell's parents, with whom he resided. Aston Wesley Powell's father was a foundation member of the staff. That first morning, a short worship and dedication service was conducted by Aston Wesley Powell's father. Present at that first ceremony were the Powells, neighbors, 16 friends, and the parents of the first 5 students of the new school. Excelsior began as an infant school, and the sign above the gate read, "The Excelsior Infant and Preparatory School." However, before the first week was out, a number of students from more established government-aided schools applied for admission because they had not been promoted to sit the December 1931 Cambridge examinations. The high school was born. These students were successful and established Excelsior's reputation as an educational rescue and recovery institution. Before the end of the first year, a commercial department was established. Excelsior's early reputation was built on discipline, excellent results in the Cambridge examination, and table tennis. As a result, large numbers of students applied for admission and posed a recurrent problem of finding accommodation. The school's location was changed several times. First, to be a specially built school hall at 23 Hampton Street, then to 16 and 18 North Street. Students from the rural areas had to be boarded at Central Avenue and Lissant Road. Finally, in 1938, 15 acres of land was acquired on Mountain View Avenue, a part of the Antrim property. Let's hold it right there for the moment as we take some more of your calls on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. The numbers to call 876-922-4112 to 5. 876-922-4112 to 5. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes. I don't think the Minister of Tourism is working properly,
Why do you say that?
I think he's a very old-fashioned Minister of Tourism, man.
Why old-fashioned? Explain.
Him outdated, man. They need somebody with young ideas. Because, look, Kingston City is the capital of Jamaica, right? And every Caribbean island, the capital is the leading tourist resort. I don't see him, putting out any strong effort to fix up Kingston and make Kingston be one of the leading tourist resorts in the Caribbean. Kingston have a lot of history and all that, and whatever tourists will come down in Kingston to tour Kingston. If Kingston is set away, to encourage tourists, and even down the waterfront, we need a tourist. We need a cruise ship pier.
Hello? Hello? Did we lose him? Hello? Hello? Sorry, we lost you for a moment. Go ahead.
What I'm saying, we need a cruise ship pier down the waterfront, Kingston waterfront, man.
Mm-hmm.
But the Minister of Tourism is only concentrating on Ocho Royals, Montego Bay, and Negril. You understand me?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is a very boring Minister of Tourism. Him depend on one thing every day, just one thing. Ocho, Negril, and Montego Bay. What about Kingston, the capital of Jamaica? The capital of Jamaica is supposed to be the most leading tourist resort in the island because Kingston is the capital. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to fix up Kingston away and put a cruise ship down at the waterfront, Kingston Mall, and make Kingston becomes, a high-class tourist area, man. I don't hear him talking about that. He's very old-fashioned man, an outdated man. It's time for him to go home, go sleep, man, and put some young, put a young person, man, a young, vibrant person with new ideas to become the minister of tourism, man. You understand what I mean?
I hear you loud and clear.
Because him boring, man. Him boring. He's a boring minister of tourism, this man. Why you just concentrating on OG, Negril, and Montego Bay? What about Kingston? Kingston have more, you have more things in Kingston to show, than anywhere else in the island, The only thing Moby and OG and Negril have over Kingston is the beach. Only the beach, they might have over Kingston. But Kingston have more things to talk about, more things to show. All Kingston need is to be rehabilitated and fix up. That's all Kingston need, to fix up and paint up and clean up. That's all Kingston need. So when him do that in Kingston now, him can build a cruise ship pier down the waterfront and make cruise ship park up. Hey, when you go to Nassau, Bahamas, Nassau is the capital of Nassau is the capital. And when you go to Nassau, Bahamas, down by Bay Street, you see around 6 cruise ship park up in the water, 6 cruise ship park up one place in the water. And tourists come out of the cruise ship and them flat the whole Nassau town, And them support the craft market and those things. Look how we have the biggest craft market in the island. Kingston craft market is the most built and the best craft market in the island, And when you go there, you always see a tourists coming there and support the Iglas them. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Yes. So the minister of tourists need to reel and come again, man, because him too old-fashioned, man, and outdated. What do you say about that?
Your position is quite clear.
Yes. A lot of things in Kingston to show tourists. Our Kingston need is fix up. And you have the Bob Marley studio, you have the Dervan house, and you have Emancipation Park, you have the Oak Gardens. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
You have the National Gallery downtown.
Hello? Did we lose him again? Hello? Looks like we lost him. Sorry about that. Please feel free to call us back. 876-922-4112-5, the numbers to call. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. Let's clear some more of these messages. Let's hop across to YouTube. Welcome, Natalie Winter. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for joining us. And Lorna Fairweather says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Best to you and your listeners. Thank you very much, Lorna Fairweather. Good to have you on board. Thank you. And there's another significant happening on this day. We're going to tell you about it or remind you about it in a moment. But first, let's clear a couple more of these messages. Ricardo in Glengough, St. Catherine, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much. And all the very best. So the other big event that happened on this day, the 12th of September, well, the year was 1988. Let's go to 1988 and make that connection. Someone is calling us on the text line, same as the WhatsApp number. We'll go to that in just a moment. But the other big happening on the 12th of September, down the years, Gilbert, 1988. The 12th tropical depression. On this day in 1988, the 12th tropical depression of the hurricane season increased in intensity and became Hurricane Gilbert on this day in 1988. It was 10 o'clock in the morning when Hurricane Gilbert roared furiously toward Morant Point on the eastern edge of Jamaica with force winds extending outward 75 miles or 120 kilometers of the center in all directions. In fact, at one stage, Hurricane Gilbert had wind speeds of up to 265 kilometers or 160 miles per hour as a strong Category 3 storm bulldozing its way across the entire length of the island, exiting western Jamaica just south of Negril at 6 o'clock that evening. During its 8-hour rampage, roofs were ripped off buildings. 20-foot storm surges washed away beachfronts, fierce winds downed trees, and record rainfall flooded roads. There was widespread destruction. More in a moment.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106. You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
Que hora es en espagnol? Son las 4:15. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4h15. 现在几点了？4点15分. 15 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. And hello to all the schoolers listening to us, all the students. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. We trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. To the phone lines once again, 876-922-4112 to 5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hello, is the caller there? Good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Malcolm.
Hello.
How are you today, sir?
I am giving thanks for life. And you?
This is your ex-sergeant Peter Xavier Williams.
I suspected so. Good to hear from you.
Yes, sir. You just mentioned something about Excelsior School.
Yes.
The first 5 students which were at Excelsior School in a little almost garage in Allentown, Mrs. Margarita Sams passed on at 101.
Whoa.
Yes, and she was noted as one of the very outstanding students at that time, Excelsior School. And so her put-away was on Friday gone at the St. Andrew Parish Church.
Oh, look at that.
Yes, sir.
Condolences. Sorry to hear.
Yes, sir. But she was one of the first of the 5 students of Excelsior School from the beginning.
So her name forever etched in the annals of history.
Yes, sir.
As far as Excelsior is concerned.
Because you just talk about it.
Yes.
You talk about Gilbert.
Uh-huh.
At that time, sir, I was employed as security manager for St. Mary Banana Estates in St. Mary. And I was there. And the St. Mary Banana Estates with its engineer unit helped at the beginning to help to keep on some of the zinc which were being torn out at the Anatomy Hospital. So the wind became so ferocious that we just had to stop doing what we were doing As a matter of fact, after the storm, we had to continue the repairs of the Anatomy Hospital School. Other devastating effect took place at that time. But on the 23rd, in the month of September, we lost the Honorable Olive Lewin.
Oh.
And her daughter happened to be in the 80s, was one of the first women in the Caribbean area to be pilot of a rotary engine in Canada.
Impressive.
So she was at the control of a helicopter ready to take off at that point in time, and she was given her first rotary wing. She was the first. And then on Sunday gone at the Garrison Church was the anniversary of the Royal Air Force Association, to which all members of the Jamaica Air Wing are automatically members of the Royal Air Force Association Jamaica chapter.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that is a little bit of the first.
Yes.
Now, over in Clarendon, following the Queen followed his footsteps, aircraft dental technician whose name is Dr. Barr, a noted dentist in Clarendon, Maypen. He was a member of the Royal Air Force, serving shoulder to shoulder with Her Majesty Queen.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir. Together with another one whose name is McClarty. He's bedridden to a point, being old, and so the Royal Air Force Association is taking care of, intends to take care of him because he is not able to move around anymore. And on the 23rd of September, I was on the guard of honor for Sir Winston Churchill, who visited Jamaica on that day to tell the people of Jamaica thank you for the services which they gave during the war, particularly members of the Royal Air Force.
Was that 1952 or 53?
No, sir, September 1953.
53.
I joined the army 6th of October 1952 during the reign of His Majesty King George VI.
Mm-hmm. And what was it? What was it on that occasion or during that visit where Sir Winston Churchill became the first to receive the keys to the city of Kingston?
Yes, sir. It was on that date when he visited, because the parade was held during those days. Military parade was held under the big tree down at parade downtown Kingston.
Yes.
So I have photographs of that occasion, because at that point in time we were graduated from Newcastle, and being fresh off the square, we were privileged to form the Guard of Honor for that time.
I see.
So at the Gaza Church service now, which was Sunday gone, we celebrated the Jamaica section of the Royal Air Force Association under the auspices of the same Major and Joanna Lewin, who was in the 80s, was the first woman in the Caribbean area to have flown off rotary. The difference between rotary and fixed wing is that the helicopter was first brought into the picture during that time. There was no helicopter during the World War II.
Oh.
So I just want to mention that from
you have given us quite a bit this afternoon. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Because especially the history of Excelsior School. Maybe somebody may call you after this to tell you exactly what were some of the movements during that. So, sir, you have a good afternoon.
You too. Always a pleasure.
God, we continue to serve, sir.
Amen.
Faithfully and well.
Amen. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Here's a call from Bunty. He has been holding for the past 9 minutes and 50 seconds. Good afternoon. Thanks for holding.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm, and big up yourself. Nice hearing you. Are you hearing me?
Likewise, yes. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Malcolm, there's a situation here I would like to suggest and to ask. The king said first in his priority is a repatriation, right?
Who?
So then, who is going to get that money?
Who?
Who is going to get that money?
Who are you talking about? Go again.
The king that's sworn in.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the repatriation money.
He mentioned reparation money. Really?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
So, yes, I listened to the news and I heard it.
When was that? When was that mentioned?
Yesterday.
All right, I'll follow up on that, but I haven't heard anything about that.
The money, the government or the slavery or the we.
Well, whoever is promising reparations will have to determine who gets what.
Oh, I see. Anyway, I thought more or less maybe the government would get it, but how it would be shared, issue out then.
This is what I'm saying. That would have to be worked out.
Okay. Anyway, the civil servant at Spanish Town, when you got to take out summons for anybody, Mr. The civil servants like the hand over full, and as far as I see it, it's the service is not pretty. I've been there from 8:30 till 12. Imagine, just to get a paper looked after to serve. From 8:30 till 12.
Where is that?
And it's not me alone. The Spanish Town Civil Service Court. So Mr. Chuck had to seek some intervention there to see what can go on. Either the people them need to pay some more money or not, for they are reluctant by doing what they are doing, like they're not getting any pay, like a voluntary service they're doing. So I would like you to take an input on that from Mr. Chuck.
Noted.
Is it possible?
Yeah, well, it sounds like just somebody saying to the people, do your work. I can't think of anything else. Or hold them accountable, whatever the conditions of their respective contracts, hold them to account. There are appraisals that are supposed to be done to determine if the level of performance by members of the workforce. So it's we people just need to do what they're supposed to do. And if more of us were doing what we're supposed to be doing, then it would be less stress for the rest of us.
That's so true. That is so true. But it seems like people are so reluctant nowadays doing what they are doing. Like money, they pay not efficient, so I shouldn't do anything. And who want to come and wait?
Yeah, well, that's not supposed to happen. Those who think the funds are insufficient, well, they'll have to look elsewhere or seek audience with their respective manager or leader and arrive at a mutually beneficial position and move on, but not for them to stay in an organization where they feel they're being tortured to engage in torturing members of the general public. Doesn't make it's just that's evil.
Mr. We talk about this situation in Spanish Town again when rain fall. And when last you got to Spanish Town?
Maybe about 2 weeks ago or 3.
What area did you go? At least you tell me. For apparently, it's a disgrace in the town.
Not too far. Just in the vicinity of the, generally between the police station and the hospital.
Oh,
the police station, the hospital, and the mall. One of those malls near to the police station or something like that. No, but if it's a if it's a disgrace, I don't have the stomach for that. I don't want to go there if it's a disgrace. Those who know, this is why accountability is so important. Those who have been vested with the authority to act in terms of the the general aesthetics of a space or a city or a town, they must do their job. That's it. And if they for whatever reason they can't manage the job, then find alternatives. But for as long as you're employed and you're being paid, the expectation is that you are going to demonstrate that you are worthy of the emoluments that you get. Otherwise, just find something else, find somewhere else. But I have no intentions of touring. I'm not a councillor or an MP. They must go on tour and see it, and ensure that action is taken. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now 4:30.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 4:30. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:30. 现在几点了？4点13分。4:30 in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thanks for holding. Yes, you were saying?
Yes, Mr. Man. What I'm saying, it seems like no one cares. And it's have nobody to put the pressure on.
That's not true. That's not true. You care. You care. And you care enough to make this your mission of constantly reminding us of the deficiencies in the running of Jamaica's old capital, Spanish Town.
I think the mayor, I feel the mayor just sitting down in his AC.
No, the mayor's position is clear. We got that already. The mayor has said, I think in respect of the garbage, the waste, he has essentially kicked the ball into the court of the National Solid Waste Management Authority, essentially. That was his response to the garbage situation or the general untidiness of the town.
Oh boy, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Thanks, Mr. Malcolm. Keep up the good work. Have a good day.
Thanks for the call, and you keep up the advocacy. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. More messages pouring in. TS says, hi, Dervan. I agree with the caller that we should fix Kingston to attract tourists. But what the caller doesn't understand is that all of our leaders have abandoned Kingston because of crime. Well, I don't know about all our leaders abandoning Kingston because of crime. But anyway, I was very happy to see the Andrew Holness-led government fixing Port Royal to facilitate the arrival of Kingston. I heard the Prime Minister in his budget debate last year saying that they are going to be building a promenade from Port Royal to downtown Kingston. The only part I disagree with is his calling the minister old fashioned and should go home. Ed Bartlett is one of our best tourism ministers. You check his performance over the years and juxtapose his against any other, and you'll see that he has done a lot more than any of his predecessors. There are too many enumerate, or there are too many to enumerate, or they are too many to enumerate. I wish some of your callers would read instead of making off the cuff remarks. Another one. Hello, Mr. Dervan. I listen to your program so often. I have a problem. I parked my pickup truck well on the side of the road, and a man hit me in the back, causing damage to my backlight, side, and bumper. Sir, this happened last year, October. We reported it to the police, and the man said I had to go through the insurance. Sir, from something is missing here. I got all what was required, sent through to my insurance, which is Advantage General. He is Key Insurance. And sir, every month from all Key Insurance is saying, send these things over and over again, and I just not getting anywhere. And it's a year now. I'm asking you if you can do anything about for me. Every month I check at least 3 times, just not getting anywhere. I can't drive like this. And he has given us his name. All right. First of all, we're going to suggest to you that call you call the Insurance Association of Jamaica. Call the Insurance Association of Jamaica. Look them up. They're in the directory. You can Google them on your phone. Call the Insurance Association of Jamaica and ask to speak with Mr. Orville Johnson. Call the Insurance Association of Jamaica and ask to speak with Mr. Orville Johnson. That is what I'm suggesting right now. And what I'm going to try to do as we're speaking now is to send your message to Mr. Johnson. Let's do that right now. Let's do the message first. Let's send the message, and all the calls we've had or we've received with respect to insurance, we have referred them to Orville Johnson at the Insurance Association of Jamaica, and they have been dealt with, every single one of them, and in good time too. And so we are going to continue to invest our confidence in Mr. Orville Johnson of the Insurance Association of Jamaica, the IAJ. Please keep us posted. We won't disclose the caller's name, except that we have sent all the information to Mr. Johnson. Patriotic Jamaican in New York says, Mr. Malcolm, I do agree with the caller that Kingston should play a more prominent role in tourism. However, I don't think this is left up to the Minister of Tourism. The government, private sector, and people need to work toward improving the aesthetics and cleanliness of the city. Then it will attract tourists. I don't think we can proudly welcome tourists to Kingston in its current dilapidated, filthy, chaka-chaka condition. Fix up the city and the tourists will come. Thank you, Patriotic Jamaican in New York. Clifford says, hi, Dervan. Greetings, as usual. I actually met and spoke to the Queen while working at Mona Hotel in Mona Heights. I was doing tea service with Miss Eugene. Is that hotel still around? I have no idea, Clifford. I have no idea. But if you find out before we do, please feel free to share the information. Natalie Winter has sent us a YouTube link. Royals stand vigil over Queen's coffin. And here is a text message now. Good afternoon. Could you please text me or report the WhatsApp number for the lady who was on not long ago dealing with land questions? I think her name was Ms. Brown. Yes, indeed. That's Ms. Sending you the information now. Ms. Gloria Brown. And her number is 876 387 3183. So now you have the name and number. Hold on. Why is it not going? Resend. All right, we'll check that. We will check that. In the meantime, let's continue with more. Did we finish? Let's just finish the Gilbert story we started earlier on. Hurricane Gilbert ravaged Jamaica on this day in 1988. As we said, there was widespread destruction. 1 million people had to be removed from their homes, and 200,000 stayed in official shelters. The public utilities of light and power, domestic water supplies, and telephones were also severely affected. Hurricane Gilbert killed 45 people and caused about $1 billion in damage. Gilbert was the first hurricane in 37 years to hit Jamaica directly, and today marks 34 years since Gilbert hit. Help came to Jamaica from many countries, mobilized by the government. A 1-month state of emergency from September 14 to October 14 was observed in St. Thomas, St. Catherine, and the corporate area. When Hurricane Gilbert swept across the island on September 12, 1988, the National Chest Hospital was one of those hospitals which suffered extensively and left the hospital in great need. The hospital was totally destroyed, and numerous pieces of equipment were either destroyed or looted. As a consequence, there are many items that need to be replaced, as well as other new equipment. And which one is this now? 1990, bus fare increase in 1990. Listen to these bus fares. Thousands of people across the island started paying more on buses on this day in 1990. The increases on fares averaged about 20%. The fare for children, except those in the rural areas, the fare for children, except those in the rural areas, those who were physically or otherwise challenged, persons with disabilities, and pensioners, their fare was not increased. So children, persons with disabilities, and pensioners did not see an increase in their fare. The new fares for the corporate area were Stage 1, $1.20, up from $1. Stage 2, $1.70. How much is bus fare these days, by the way? $1.07. Let's go again. So with the fare increase on this day in 1990. As we said, the fare for children, persons with disabilities, and pensioners did not go up. The new fares for the corporate area were stage one, $1.20, up from $1. Stage two, $1.70, up from $1.40. Stage three, $2, up from $1.80. And stage four, $2.80, up from $2. And you see, this is why governments all over the world operate public transport systems. Because this little bit of money, as we say here in Jamaica, can't sustain a public transport system. So the only place in the world that I have found, and you can tell me if you have found another place, but the only place in the world that I have found so far in my research where a successfully, profitably run public transport service is taking place, or is in effect, or is in operation, is in a place called Coritiba, Brazil. Coritiba, Brazil. A successfully run, a profitably run, profitably run public bus service. Coritiba, Brazil. You can check it. And so those who are expecting us to have a profitably run JUTC, I'm not going to say forget it, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Let's take the break and come back.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106. You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5:15. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5:15. 现在地点了5点加15分. 15 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? Right, so we're making the point that all over the world, public transport systems are subsidized. They have to be subsidized. Because, first of all, they have to be priced. The service has to be priced in such a way that the average citizen, no matter how poor, at some point or another should be able to afford a bus ride from point A to point B. But that money cannot pay for the actual service, much more for the entity to make a profit. Where the government, and this is governments all over the world, some of them do it successfully, others, because it's government, they just, as Tony Leng used to say, they just left it up. But what they should be focusing on, those who are charged with the duties of operating these public transport systems, the focus has to be on efficiency in every area of operation. Efficiency in every area of operation. And if they can do that successfully, then what they would be doing is minimizing the cost of the service, minimizing the cost to operate the buses, for example. And it means less, it will mean less, the government having to pay out less in subsidies to the public transport system. So that's really where it's at. That's really where it's at. And that's not going to change anytime soon. What we need, though, are people who are technically sound and and adept at working the numbers and managing the operations and organizing people and getting people to take a vested interest in the operations, and therefore it means if they feel like they have a vested interest in the operations, then they will perhaps do even more in helping to support the the plans for making the entity a more efficient one. Beverline says, fulfill your duties. She says, love the topic, caller. Let's put it out there. MP needs to go out and assess and bring about changes. And then she says, pardon, I forgot my mannerisms. Good afternoon, Sir D. Good afternoon, Beverline in Toronto, Canada. We see Glenn is trying to get through to us, but Glenn, there's Natalie Winter is on already. So that's why you're not getting through, Glenn. Natalie Winter is already on. And we're going to bring her on air in just a moment. Kevin Galloway says, good evening to you, Sir Malcolm. Peace be upon Israel. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your message. Let's go to Natalie on our text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Question. You're gonna bring the Calabar lecture series on your Facebook page tonight?
No, it should be on the Boulevard Baptist Church YouTube channel, I believe.
Website. Okay.
There's a flyer circulating with a QR code, which you can use the camera on your smartphone to capture, and then that will automatically give you the link.
Okay.
Right, so it's for what it's worth, it is https //tinyurl.com and then / B. I don't know if it makes a difference, but capital B for Boulevard, capital B for Baptist, as one word. Boulevard Baptist, one word with capital B's.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So will you be taking in the lecture series?
I will be emceeing, and I'll
Okay.
I should be able to go live.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay. Well, I'll just have to tune in through YouTube and have a listen. So, okay then.
Thank you for the call.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. More messages coming in. And James has sent us everything. And that's the only name we'll call for the time being. So what we're going to do is to forward all that he has sent us to Mr. Johnson, Mr. J. And we just did. Patrick, otherwise known as Jamaica Love, says, well, he's having a good laugh about a little bit of money. And thank you for your message, Jamaica Love. Keep the messages coming in, although we are almost out of time. Perhaps we can get in another bit for you. Let's go to the year 19. Let's stay in 1990. 1990. The Gleaner reported on this day in 1990 that the government would be cutting back spending by an additional $250 million as part of its demand management policy aimed at supporting the deregulated foreign exchange regime announced the previous day. However, acting Prime Minister P.J. Patterson said at a news conference at Jamaica House the previous day that the government would be identifying other areas of meaningful employment and that no major increase in unemployment would result from its new policy. He said efforts would be made to protect the poor. The cutback would take place as the government targets a reduction in the overall public sector deficit from 4.5% to 3.5% of the gross domestic product. This 1% reduction of the 25 billion gross domestic product at current value would translate into 250 million. Acting Prime Minister P.J. Patterson the previous day outlined major changes in the economic policies of the government, but shied away from giving details of the agreement with the International Monetary Fund. On this day in 1992, Dr. Mae C. Jemison became the first woman of color to go into space aboard the space shuttle Endeavour. At the age of 31, Dr. Jemison had the honor of being selected from more than 2,000 applicants to participate in the astronaut training program at NASA, USA. She spent a total of 190 hours, 30 minutes, and 23 seconds in space. Dr. Jemison resigned from NASA in March 1993. In space, Dr. Jemison was the payload specialist. Also on board were mission specialist N. Yan Davis and Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Mark C. Lee. They were the first married couple to fly together in space. And Mamoru Mori became the first Japanese person to fly into space. On this day in 2003, the Senate approved the Toll Authority Regulations 2003 to give teeth to the authority that would govern the running of the soon-to-be-opened Old Harbor Bypass. However, opposition senators were voicing concerns about the state of the bypass. During the sitting, the leader of government business, Senator Burchell Whiteman, said the only consideration for a change in the toll rates would be based on movements in the dollar at 6-month intervals. Even then, Senator Whiteman said the movements of inflation would have to be in the order of 25%. For his party, opposition Senator Bruce Golding raised other issues such as entry and exit points, the classification of vehicles, and the absence of proper lighting on the toll road. According to Senator Golding's calculations, 300 streetlights could be installed for a nominal cost of about $4 million. This, he added, would amount to only 3% of the total revenue anticipated if only half the expected motorists used the road. On this day in 2004, the nation was coming to grips with news that Hurricane Ivan had wrought death and terror on numerous people in Jamaica, even though its deadly eye never made landfall. Some 15 people died, including 3 children. The following day, that number moved to 17. In addition, 12,000 people were dislocated from their homes and were living in shelters. Ivan then moved on to batter the Cayman Islands. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Monday, the 12th of September, 2022. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on, nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
storm. Neighbors once friendly, now standing side of the line that has been drawn. They've been fighting hippies, but now it's killing on the streets. While snow comes like the sun, now united in defeat. All we always need to hear both sides of the story. When the lights are all on, the world is watching now. People looking for truth, we must act with now be sure. Before we close our eyes, walk away from here. Till we see no signs. Oh, no, no, no. White man turns the corner, finds himself within a different world. Ghetto kid grabs his shoulder, throws him up against the wall. He says, "Will you respect me if I didn't have this gun? 'Cause without it, I don't get it."
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
news, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's News at 5.
Good afternoon. I am Dervan. Coming up in the news segment of Beyond the Headlines today, Monday, September 12, 2022. Hundreds of corporate area commuters left stranded as transport operators withdrew their service. PPV operators calling for traffic ticket amnesty. Latest RJ Gleaner Don Anderson poll shows more Jamaicans losing confidence in country's two main political parties. Health Ministry investigating first suspected monkeypox related death. In business news, Red Stripe increases the payout for returned glass bottles.
The Bluetooth device is ready to help.
It's the Radio Jamaica Major News simulcasts. Weekdays at 7 a.m., 12 noon, and 5 p.m. Weekends at midday and Sundays at 6 p.m. on Power 106 FM and online at onespotmedia.com and go-jamaica.com. Can't catch the news at these times? Download the Power 106 FM app from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store for news whenever,